Hi friends, it's Sophia and welcome to Sophia's Turning 50, where we tell stories and embrace our age, no matter what it is. Today we'll be talking about the question, what's your plan for 2022? I also have a health and wellness segment today, and I also have a show and tell, but this one's a more modern one, not from the 1980s. Okay, so let's talk about our plans for 2022. So one thing I know is that I am not going to put a lot of expectation on 2022. So last year at this time, I know a lot of people were hoping that 2021 was going to be a year where everything got turned around and got better and blah, blah, blah. And I wanted to show you, my friend gave me this mug. 2020 was pretty awful, but I think that we're going to alter this mug real quick to make it all the way accurate. So there we go. That's what it was like. So I would say for 2022, I'm trying to approach it with lowered expectations. I was just talking with some of my friends the other day, and we were saying if it could just be neutral, or maybe we could call it boring or uneventful. All of those things would be fine. So that's one of my plans. But usually around this time of year, between Christmas and New Year's, I really sit down and think about what are some things I'd like to do in 2022. I've moved away from resolutions and just more to what are different things I like to do in the year? How would I like to approach this or that or the other? And there are some really good resources for that. And the main one that I have followed and used for the past few years is a podcast called Happier with Gretchen Rubin. And she started back in 2019, doing lists for the year, 19 for 2019, 20 for 2020, 21 for 21, like things that you want to do that year. And it can be all variety of things from, finally get your closet organized to take a trip to Europe or, anything in between. And so that I'm going to link to the podcast there, and they're currently, right now it's December 27th, and I think on the 30th or 29th or something like that, they'll have their episode on their 22 for 22 lists. And then they also do challenges. So in 2020, it was walk 20 in 20. So that was walk 20 minutes every day. 21 was read 21 minutes every day. And then 22, they just came out. They were saying, how exhausting the year was, the last 2 years really. And so their challenge for 2022 was rest 22 minutes a day in 2022, which I think could be a big challenge. But it's kind of along the lines of what I was talking about in the last episode, which is we have got to replenish ourselves. And rest can take a lot of forms. It could be just sitting and on the patio and staring off into the distance with a cup of coffee. That's what I do almost every day. I also like to take breaks during the workday, and sometimes I just sit down and watch an episode of Seinfeld now that it's on Netflix. So usually I can sit down with a snack and watch a 20-minute episode of Seinfeld and laugh and then get back to work, and that's a good little break. You can actually even take a nap in 20 minutes, and that is certainly rest 22 and 22. So these are all kinds of ideas of different ways to think about how you want to be in 2022 or things you want to do in 2022. And so I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna link all those resources for you to check them out, but let's talk about my things. 2021 list. Oh, I did get a little library. That's the thing that you put out in the front of the house to have books in for the neighbors to take a book or leave a book. Did not read 45 books. I am so far behind in my reading. I finally did finish the Tolstoy novel, which I did not enjoy. It wasn't that great in my opinion. I know it's supposed to be one of the best novels of all time, but I didn't like it. So, but I forced myself to finish it. So I think that was like maybe my 22nd or 23rd book of the year. So definitely gonna read 45 books next year. And let's see. Here's something. In 2021, I take tap dancing lessons on my list, which I did not do. And so I'm going to put that again on my 22 list, and we'll see how that goes. And of course, I'm turning 50, so I'll probably have to think of some 50 related things to put on the list for that. So that's where I am. I've just basically been wandering around in my pajamas at home the last 3 days. I haven't quite gotten myself organized to think about 2022 yet, but I will be sitting down to do my 22 for 22 list and plan ways to rest for 22 minutes in a day in 2022. So tell me what some of your plans are in 2022. It could just be places you want to go, of course, things you want to do. And I put tap dancing because it's something that's fun and whimsical, and an aspirational fun thing to do. I think is a great thing to add to your list. So now I have a health and wellness thing to share, and I'm sure some people are going to think it's way TMI, but I don't care. We're here to be transparent and for me to tell you about health things that I think might be relevant to you. So last December, I had an MRI for my back. I had a really bad herniated disc last fall. And so in this MRI, they saw some spots that I guess around the uterus. I don't really know, but they just said, oh, there's something here, something else you should check out. So I went to the doctor and they sent me off to get an ultrasound. And it turned out that I had one small fibroid, I guess, and some small cyst, and they were like, that's no big deal. Just keep an eye on it. We'll, check in on it annually. And if you have X, Y, and Z symptoms, make an appointment to see us. So I didn't think another thing about it. So fast forward to, I guess, November, I'm 49. I've got my hormones are all crazy. I get my hot flashes. I have my night sweats, and my period is just, I don't know when it's going to happen anymore. So I skipped one entirely, I think, and then I had like a half one, and then like a week later I started another one, and I was like, oh Lord. But this one's been going on for weeks, and I realized in the middle of the night last night, so today's the 27th, and I think it was like Christmas was over, and my brain had space to say, hey, maybe you should go to the doctor 3 weeks in. And as soon as I had that thought, I was like, oh my gosh, I have that fibroid, and I bet this has something to do with that. So I, first thing I did this morning when I got up was email my doctor. They already got back to me, and I'm scheduled to have a uterine ultrasound. And I'm sure there's nothing, like I don't feel bad, no symptoms, but I know it's something I need to get checked out. And on that note, I wanted to mention that when I first called, the appointment for the ultrasound was like in mid-January. And I said, no, can I go somewhere else? Can I have it sooner? I don't want to wait that long. And so they hemmed and hawed and looked around, and they got me in 2 days. And so I cannot reiterate enough or as many times that you have to advocate for yourself. Do not let somebody put you off, for 4 weeks or 6 weeks if it's something that's urgent. And sometimes they do just put you off. And I've had to wait months for an appointment before. So it's not that I'm not, I understand that you have to wait for appointments sometimes, but if I have an appointment that's 4 months away, you better believe that I asked 18 different ways to try to push it sooner. And I might call, a month in to see if there's been any cancellations. And so I just push. And so I know that I'm an assertive person, so I try to be polite about it. But if you are somebody that you just kind of take what they say and don't push back, you might want to consider almost, you might consider it being obnoxious to keep asking and pushing. But I want you to think about, if you think, oh, that would be obnoxious for me to keep asking those kinds of questions, then you should ask those questions and just be obnoxious. It's probably not really obnoxious. It's probably just assertive. So anyway, just yet again, another message on acting promptly on your health and being assertive and being an advocate for yourself to get what you need as soon as you need it. Okay, and last up today is a couple of Christmas presents that I've gotten in the past few years. So every year, Nathan and I make stockings for each other, and he always has very clever things in my stocking. He's an excellent gift giver, much better than me. He always has very thoughtful and spot on gifts for me, whereas I'm like, here's a shirt, you know. But anyway, he's really good at it. So this year, he got me this in my stocking. It's just a notepad called Obsessive Lists. And I mean, if you know me at all, it's perfect. I currently have a legal notepad that has my list of work projects written on it. Then I have another notebook where I put lists of ideas for this show on it. Then I have a spiral that's just my regular to-do list that's always overloaded. And then I have on my phone like daily reminders of all the things that I want to do every day. Those are kind of my habits. So that's an idea. If you want to start a habit, put it in your reminders and set it for daily. So every day I get a reminder to meditate. I get a reminder to do yoga. I get a reminder to go for a walk, you know, that kind of thing. But anyway, I'm going to start using my Obsessive Lists notebook because I just love it. And one other thing, a couple of years ago, I think it was the same year that I got all my Jane Austen books. He got me this Christmas ornament, and it's a Pride and Prejudice book, but it's a Christmas ornament. So I just love that. It's, you know, he gives me a really cool ornament every single year. So now this has become in my top 2 favorites. The other one I have is just this little weird shoe thing from like, I don't know, 2000 probably. Let's see, I think that's all that we have for today. And so until next year, take care of yourself, have a happy new year, and remember to embrace your age, no matter what it is. See you next time.